It's your girl Morgan. Welcome to the Get Real podcast. In case you're new here, this is the podcast where we talk about everything. Business, parenting, and all the other things I'm barely surviving. We pick the brains of professionals, hear inspirational stories, and get advice from friends. Literally, this is your everything podcast, and I'm so glad you're here. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so that you can stay tuned for all the episodes and never miss a beat. All right, let's dive in.
Is Pour It Out Tuesday with Morgan. Morgan, you remember our tagline this week?
I know we've been tossing around so many different things, but pretty much this is it's like a lunchtime happy hour, but we're making it radio.
Yep. Lunchtime happy hour.
Unfortunately, no alcohol, but you know.
But with opinions.
Right. Opinions
that
for
are
sure.
as strong as tequila.
That's right. That's right.
We have lots of opinions.
Yep.
I think all women do.
Yeah.
Most women probably do.
Yeah.
But
most of them are good though. Right?
Of course. I mean, better than the
Our
other
male counterparts.
The counterpart. Yeah, of course. But we are coming to you live from the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Listen, so Sean was in here with me yesterday and I said, "Hey, Sean, do I look like I'm glowing?" And he was like, "Yeah, is that what you do when you are over 40? I was like, "Haha, you're real funny." I said, "No, that's what happens when you go to Women's Wellness and you get a ZO glass facial like I did
right.
last week. It brings
How was
out
that?
glow.
Oh, so good. It's my favorite.
So amazing. I don't know. My favorite part was, I don't know what those things are called, but those cold
globes. Mm-hmm.
It felt so
I know.
good. And I was thinking, this is probably what anybody with like migraines needs this.
It feels so good. And that aloe mask and then the cold globes. And it's just, yes.
It was incredible. I know. I was so relaxed. I don't know that I've ever been that relaxed. I was like falling asleep, like trying to not fall asleep in there. And I said, I don't think I've ever get this much peaceful, because the environment is just so calming.
That's right.
So women,
men,
if you need to get your women something like that, you cannot go wrong.
Of men in our med spa section for sure.
Do y'all have men come and get facials?
Oh yeah, we do all the time. Hydrofacials, regular facials, and we have the laser treatments too. So we have like tattoo removal, and we'll even like
does Bo still come do that?
He does.
Shout out to Bo. I can never say his last name. Right?
Yeah. He comes on Tuesdays, and then if it's outside of a Tuesday, you get me.
Well, you're just as good as Bo. You're a little prettier.
Now, don't let him hear you say that.
I know he might be offended by that.
Now, I will say they're like Bo. For a while, we both got trained at the same time, and Bo was doing them like exclusively. I was not doing them because he was there more days, and now that he's dialed back to just one day, I've had to kind of step in on some pages because not everybody can come on a Tuesday. Right. So I'll pick up the slack, but I do defer sometimes to him because he is very knowledgeable about the tattoo removal. So that's good to have.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing when it comes to that. Maybe not about other things. But I'm kidding, Bo. I'm just kidding. But we are live from the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. The call-in number to the show is 601-879-0002. We also have a text line now, also 601-879-4648. And Morgan got me a number where you can text my name, Lindsay, with an E, and that I've got it.
I don't remember what the number was, though.
Yeah. So if you are interested in anything like weight loss, semaglutide, the hormone replacement therapy, facial, skincare,
anything at
aesthetics,
all.
any
so
of it,
easy.
anything, wellness, lab work. Just you can text my name, Lindsay, with an E, 601-990-4255, and they will get back with you, give you all the information that you need, get you scheduled to come in and see them, and you will be thanking me for it. I assure you. You will not regret it. So that is the number that you can reach Women's Wellness to find out about all of those things. So I think that's all the housekeeping.
Yeah, right.
So Morgan, I told you I was going to solve a murder.
I know. And I cannot wait to hear, I know you're not going to just show us all your cards yet, but how's it coming? How are y'all?
I am blown away by the interest and the amount of people who have reached out and want to talk and who remember things from that long ago, 23 years ago. I mean, this is something that really stuck out in a lot of people's minds. I mean, number one, it was horrific. It was a horrible, horrible murder. And number two, nobody was ever brought to justice for it. And number three, I think Eddie Williams, and that's who was killed, I think he was just really loved and respected in this community. He was 31 years old, very young, had his whole life ahead of him. He had just built his dream home he never got to live in. And, I think that a lot of people have just been sick about this for so many years and are thrilled to actually see some new light being shed on it. And hopefully, even though it's been that many years, we will be able to talk to enough people, get enough information that, the case can be, they say it's still an open case, but, be really opened back up and active. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll tell you, I had a few patients even yesterday after I shared your post about it, like just kind of like a trailer teaser or whatever that y'all are going to be doing that. And I had like 2 patients yesterday that came in that knew that I was on the show with you. And anyways, they were like, oh my gosh, I want to know more. I'm like, well, honestly, I'm going to have to wait till Tuesday because I have not talked to her about it. Like they just launched it or just starting to dig in. I know that they were like knee deep in all the files and things. And so I was like, but it's going to be very interesting and I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we are going to continue that. We kind of yesterday just gave an overview and we've just really kind of
scratched the surface.
Yeah, we're just scratched the surface. We're just kicking the dust up. And I think it's going to be really
I feel like we should have like a hotline number. Like,
I know.
Anonymous hotline number.
Well, I do have my show text line.
There you go.
If anybody wants to text, you can email me, Lindsay@wyab.com, or the text line again, 601-879-4648. So if you have any information about the 2002 murder of Eddie Williams, or you know anybody that knows anything, or you have thought about it since yesterday when you heard us talking about it and you remembered something that you might want to share, I'm your girl.
Yeah. Send those tips and leads in.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like as many cases as we can, I think mostly it's the family, like just bringing the closure and that peace and closure and justice to the family is so important. And, and I said this yesterday about my sister, but her murder was never solved. And so it's just something that you don't ever stop thinking about. It haunts you.
Right.
And there are times when I've been walking down the road or out shopping or at the mall and I pass by somebody and I'll think to myself, could that have been the person?
Right.
That murdered? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So I think it's just so important to never give up on those things, especially when you have so many people who are still around and still and want to talk.
Right.
They want to share. So
right. And one of my patients specifically said that she like lived over there by Time Out in the apartment complexes and everything. So it's like, I mean, people were there, like, relatively close to the site of this happening. So I'm sure, and two, just for everybody around, it's like nobody knows why it happened,
right? How it happened,
So you get to thinking, if this was just a senseless act or no rhyme or reason, or you don't know why it happened,
right?
Could it happen to me?
Exactly.
So the community as a whole, like, wants answers too. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's been a heavy week.
So heavy.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't even know another word to describe that other than heavy. But y'all had a great turnout Saturday. I saw the pictures.
We did at the Danes Day Dove Hunt. It was a benefit for Dane, and it was so sweet. Really, his son-in-law, his daughter got married around Christmas time this last year. They just had the baby and all of that. But
I saw pictures of her.
I know, she's so sweet. But his son-in-law actually had the idea to do this dove hunt. I mean, they're going to hunt dove every year.
Right.
Of course. They're going to do that.
That's going to happen anyway. Yeah. So why not?
So he was like, you know what? I want to do a benefit, for Dane. And he did. And I was so proud of him and my niece, and that, backed up, unintentionally backed up. I wish I could have done more to help them, but it was all in their hands. And, we hated that. I don't know that I actually posted this on the Dane report, but Dane and Mandy, they ended up getting stuck in Houston. His treatment plans had got switched around. And so they actually couldn't even make the event. But, you know, I
that.
know, but I was like, it's okay. You know, it's not like it's his birthday party. It's not like he's.
But I'm sure it was still like a
but
big boost, a big confidence boost to him just to see
all the support,
all those people come out and
everybody
all the
rooting him
T-shirts
on.
that were ordered.
Yes. And I think, you know, we did do one batch of the T-shirts. I think we still have a few more orders that we need to fulfill, and everybody who ordered for shipping, those will be getting out here soon in the next few days. But I think we might actually keep the shirts going, or maybe change up something, maybe take the dove hunt off or something, but just have an ongoing.
I love the shirts. Like they are so good looking. I know you designed them.
Yeah.
But y'all need a more
girly version.
Feminine one.
Yes. And you know, when you're trying to put everything together so quick, it's like we just had to do unisex, but it won't be difficult for us to have an alternative version. And we've had a lot of people ask about kid sizes.
Yeah.
So want their little people, you know, supporting Dane too. So so I would think that we're probably gonna add to that collection and have it on the website still. So we also threw up a website, danesday.org. And so there's also a way to donate on the actual website.
Are y'all like putting updates there too?
We can. I actually thought about that last week. I was like, oh,
maybe
I'll do a blog. Yeah, like, you know, it wouldn't be anything to,
or even just
a blog where it has the posts on there.
Yeah, or even just a link to the that takes you to the post on the do y'all have, what is it?
So we have the GoFundMe, but I hadn't been posting the actual updates in there because I feel like that site's a little difficult. So it was easier for people just to find me on Facebook, and I have the post, you know, just on my regular feed. But I think even if I copy and paste them into the danesday.org website, it'll be easy for people to find one
universal
spot.
Place to go. Yeah.
Right.
And get all the updates and then what's coming up and ways they can help.
That's right.
Any new news from this last visit?
He just started his new chemo treatments yesterday. And so we were experiencing some adverse reactions to the chemotherapy or the immunotherapy that he was on with the clinical trial. So we had to stop that. It was causing his lungs to fill up with fluid and stuff like that. So obviously we can't continue on that path.
We need his lungs healthy.
Have to be able to breathe, if nothing else. So they did another pancreatic biopsy and are sending that off for all the genetic testing, which we were unable to do in the beginning because they didn't have enough tissue. So that's being sent off, waiting for that. It'll take a few weeks. But
that's what y'all are concerned. Y'all were trying to debate.
Yes.
Last Tuesday we were talking about, you didn't know if you wanted to do
the biopsy or not. And it came down to, we have to,
you need to know
if we want to try to do any other kind of treatments besides the standard of care chemo treatment, which that's what he's doing now. And
it's to have like a treatment that's specific for what he needs.
Targeted therapy, you have to have those.
You have to know what you're treating.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we have to have its name essentially.
Yeah. So those, I guess those results probably haven't come back yet.
No, it takes a few weeks for those, and so in the meantime, he's going to do the standard of care chemo, which is a stronger, because we had the chemo with immunotherapy, but that chemo that was paired with that was none of it's gentle, but a gentler version of chemo. And so now we're doing just the first line standard of care, which is a little bit harder of a punch than what he was on. So it's, 4 to 6 hour infusion. And then he actually wears a pump for 2 days. And it's a combination of 4 different chemotherapy drugs is what all of it equates to. And he'll do that every 2 weeks. So
I'm sure they are so thankful that they have you to kind of, you just got out of nurse practitioner school.
I know. And I wish that I was more specialized in that, but we are working on, coming up with some local collaborations with physicians. So maybe while they're in this shorter phase of doing the standard of care, maybe they can do some treatments here and not have to leave so much.
Because, I was going to say,
he doesn't want to leave that baby.
Yeah. I know. Why would he?
I know.
How often is he having to go?
Every other week. And it's like several days.
And that wears him out. That wears him out.
It does.
Especially being on the chemo, you're already tired.
And it's a 6 hour drive.
That'd be amazing if y'all could figure out a way to do some of it locally so that he doesn't have to travel as much. But
that's our goal for sure.
Well, we're all praying for him.
Keep the prayers going, especially now because he's on a new regimen, new symptoms and side effects from that he didn't experience before. And so it's just, it's like as soon as you get used to something,
it's like whack-a-mole.
We got to change it. And start all over almost.
Yeah. And you never know how the body's going to react
That's right.
to each one of these
That's
different
right.
things. Well, Morgan and I are going to talk about the things that have taken place in the last week, the world that has just gone mad on us, and
That's right.
how we are able to navigate that when we don't even know what we're feeling and then have to talk to our kids about it. But we're going to break all that down and have that conversation when we come back after this first commercial break. So y'all stay with us right here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. It's Poured Out Tuesday with Morgan Charlie. We are back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show. It is Tuesday, so I am joined by my Tuesday co-host, Miss Morgan Charlie over there. And we were talking through text, and I know you did a podcast episode this week.
I did on Sunday.
Do you want to tell a little bit about tell people what your podcast name is and how to find it? And
yeah, it's Get Real with Morgan Charlie. You can find it pretty much anywhere that you listen to your podcast. So Apple, Amazon, Spotify, all the places. But I try to do one a week, and I was trying to get back into that flow. And last week would have been my first official weekly episode, and
she had kind of given it up, and then she came into the radio show. She's like, "Oh,
I also had to finish school, so literally it was 11 months I took off." But I kind of was sidelined by last week's events, and I could not. I had a episode recorded, and I just felt it was insufficient
right.
to even post. Like I couldn't hit go on it, and so I just didn't. And luckily, I didn't, because I really didn't know. I'm sure you feel the same way. I didn't know. I knew I had a bunch of different feelings going on, and I wasn't sure which direction I was right to take them. You know, anger and sadness, heartbreak, and just confusion. There's just so much wrong with what's going on.
Right.
And I went to church Sunday, and our preacher, Josh, I was so happy because I was nervous. Somebody had posted, maybe you shared it on Facebook. Somebody had asked,
do you think your preacher should mention Charlie Kirk tomorrow? And there were a lot of, I didn't expect to get that much feedback. There are a lot of strong opinions. And honestly, I don't believe a preacher has to mention it necessarily, but I think
if you look at what it is, because so many people are looking at it's right or it's left, it's Democrat, it's Republican. But at the end of the day, Charlie was a Republican. He did fight for conservatives and what conservatives believe in, but he talked about God
first and foremost, and he said it all the time.
Yes,
he was a Christian.
He was leading Christians, making heaven crowded, and so I would have had to really question my church. And I know that's strong. I would have had to really question my church if our pastor did not bring it up, because a Christian, a publicly known Christian that spoke loud, proud, and often about the love and, Jesus Christ, our Savior, got shot point blank in the middle, in front of thousands, at a college, on a college campus.
Right.
And it was broadcasted over social media and every news outlet. And for a pastor to not acknowledge that is them putting their political beliefs before God, in my opinion.
Either that or being so afraid to touch a political topic, which I have a problem with. Because it's very clear that Christians are pro-life, or they should be if they follow the Bible, and Christians believe the things that Charlie believed, and so it just felt. I didn't do the show the next day, and this happened Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. I
think I saw. You maybe went on Friday, maybe?
I went on Friday.
I was crying with you.
I pulled myself together enough to come on Friday. But Thursday, I knew if I got behind this microphone, like, they were going to hear nothing but, I hadn't stopped crying yet.
Right.
I mean, from the second that it happened. And I think a lot of people were feeling that way. And a lot of people were feeling like, why, this is so strange. Why am I feeling like I lost someone I knew?
And that's how I was.
I've never met this man. Why does it feel this way? And I think it's because we know what he died for.
I think so too. And another just thought too is that shows you how social media does keep people so connected too. Because I've never spoken to Charlie, but I watched him nearly every day.
Right.
I was watching a TikTok, something that was him debating somebody one way or another or whatever, or the turning point or whatever. And so social media does connect everybody, but almost too much because, the videos going around and we saw things we should not have seen.
I was mortified and had nightmares, and you couldn't unsee it once you saw it, and it was so gruesome and so brutal. And I picked my kids up from school, and my eyes are just red and swollen, and they're like, what is going on? They're thinking somebody in our family has died. But honestly, I didn't know Charlie personally. He was a great friend of our Moms for Liberty, the organization. We worked a lot with Turning Point, and we loved Charlie, and he loved us. So but I think a lot of people felt like I think if you have a moral compass, you hurt more so than if it had been just a different type of celebrity. I think if you have a moral compass and a heart, you felt like, hey, this man died for a reason.
Right. And I do think that seeing it happen in real life like that, filtered and just right there, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I don't think that I've seen anything quite like that since JFK. I mean, I wasn't alive for JFK, but I'm saying like the videos, there's very few videos of assassinations that you actually capture that magnitude.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I know the world cried then. I'm a baby.
I cried and cried and cried. So, until I had literally no tears left in my body. I think anybody that watched the show Friday, you saw me. I was crying puddle watching you though, and there was snot everywhere and tears everywhere, and I was like, I'm sorry. If I'm going to sit here and talk about it, and I agree with what you said. I felt like it would have been disrespectful to talk about anything else at that time.
Because you don't have to talk about politics with it. Like, the values are the Christian values, and you can leave it at that. You don't have to say, this is what the right believes, this is what the left believes. It's what Christians believe, this and this and this and this and this, and that's what Charlie was fighting for.
And I think that's truly what he cared about more than anything else, was if he could
keep in this country.
Right. Leave one message with those young people. I think it was get a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Right. Not letting this country slip into the chaos and turmoil. And that's one thing I talked about on my podcast this week was, I am angry, very angry. And I've watched so many reels and so many speeches and things, letters that were written. And it's, one in particular was, I don't want to stand complacent across the aisle from you anymore. I want to defeat you. And I took that, and at first I was like, yes, agreed. And then I started thinking, I'm like, but the people are not what I want to defeat. This is a spiritual warfare.
Oh, for sure.
This is spiritual warfare. The enemy is who we should be linking arms to defeat at the end of the day.
Right. I posted a meme or shared it that said, I hope that the demons rejoice when I die too.
That's right.
The way that they are rejoicing. And, I have to believe that these people who are rejoicing in his death are, they're of the world. They've been fooled. They've been tricked. They've been lied to.
They have been with I don't know. I've just seen so many things that were so intellectually unintelligent and manipulative, where that, broadcasters, news anchors, social media influencers, whatever, and they just take little bitty pieces and they feed it. And if you are a follower, if you're just following the herd here, then you're going to be you can be easily corrupted.
Right.
And that's what a lot of them are doing. They're taking one little sliver of what Charlie said and calling him racist. They're, saying he hated transgenders. I don't think that was the case. I don't think he hated anybody. I don't think
he refused to live in their reality,
but
he loved the people.
All of his debates were trying to get people to answer questions about whatever their belief was. Give an intelligent, logical explanation of your belief here. Try to convince me,
mm-hmm.
you know, and they couldn't do it, and that made him angry.
Right.
You know,
absolutely. I mean, he wasn't killed because he said anything that was along the lines of hate speech.
Mm-mm.
You know, he was killed because he was effective and he was changing lives
hearts. Yeah.
and changing hearts. And, you know, that's what they can't stand. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what, and like you were saying, I think he said, I don't know if you said this on air during the break, but, you know, if we're going to believe God is real, we have to also believe evil is real and there are demonic forces. And I just don't believe that anybody could do what was done without there being some demonic force behind that.
Right. Right. Well, and you have to think about cultures that this, not necessarily like, I mean, we're in a different century now, but like just killing people and celebrating it or showing no emotion at all. Those were secular people, you know, they,
of the world,
right. They were not
of
Christians.
God. Right.
They didn't have the bleeding heart. They didn't have, you know, the compassion and feel, you know, the feelings when somebody dies, because that was just, it was nothing to them.
So these people that feel this overwhelming amount of grief like we do, I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
I think it's saying you've got a heart, you know,
Absolutely.
you've got some sort of moral compass
Mm-hmm,
about you, and you knew this was a good man. We got to take our next commercial break, but when we come back, I wanted to talk with you about how we talk to our children about these things. And that's so tough to do. And, you know, my kids, you know, I said on the show Friday, my oldest daughter was, after this happened, mortified that somebody was going to come and try to hurt me. You speak out on the same things, that a lot of the same things that Charlie spoke. And so, you know, now our kids are in fear that someone's going to attack their parents. And and so it's just it's so sad that we live in a world like that. But I want to discuss that and break that down with you on how you talk to kids about bad things, evil things, when things like this happen. But y'all stay with us. We'll be right back after this short commercial break on the Lindsay Beckham Show. We'll be right back after this short commercial break on the Lindsay Beckham Show. We are back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show with Tuesdays with Morgan Charlie, where we are breaking down our kind of thoughts and feelings last week as the whole Charlie Kirk assassination played out. And I want to know, Morgan, did your kids come to you with it, or did you talk to them about it that night, or kind of how did that go at your house?
They actually came to me. I was kind of taken back because I didn't expect for them to
know who he was,
know it happened. I don't know. I didn't know really what was going on in the schools, if it was talked about or not. I mean, I've got one in middle school, so maybe, you know, and he's very, very smart. And so maybe he keeps up with things. I wasn't real sure. But Friday, when I picked him up from school, he got in the car, and I actually think I was listening to your episode in the car, like on my phone, while I was in carpool line. And so he heard, I guess, Charlie Kirk's name or whatever on there. And he asked, he said, "Oh, did you know about that? Did you watch him? Like, did you know him?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, yeah, babe, I did." I was like, "But what do you know?" What did you know? And she said, or he said that, well, he was a Christian. I know that. And that was the first thing. And I was like, there you go.
That's what you needed to know.
Yeah. There you go. That it wasn't about politics. It wasn't about anything. He said, well, I know that he was a Christian and somebody shot him. And that, just from a child's perspective, like that was what he took from, I don't know what information he saw or who fed it to him, but like
that's what he took.
That's what he took from it, was he was a Christian and somebody killed him. And you know what, I think there's a lot that holds a lot of weight, because it doesn't matter if the beliefs were wrapped into a political, you know, chapter or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, the beliefs were the beliefs, period. And he got killed for those, you know?
Right.
And even my 9-year-old got in the car, and not sure what prompted him, but he said Charlie Kirk's name. He was talking to his brother, and I was like, what do you know about that? I mean, and he was like, oh, I know he got killed at a college, and he was debating, and he was a Christian. And so that's all, and that's what I was saying, talking about the church and everything. It's like, that was the point. That was the biggest point. The most important point was that he was a Christian that was assassinated for his beliefs. So,
did y'all have any deeper conversations about it, or did you just kind of let them kind of talk about what they knew? And
I did talk to them, and it's hard because you don't know how much information to give them.
Right. I know
they are little, but I am a firm believer that you have to talk to your kids. You cannot sugarcoat it. You cannot act like it is not out there, because it doesn't matter if you try to put them in a bubble. Eventually they have to come out of the bubble.
Right.
And they have to know right and wrong, because if they get out into the world without those morals, without those strongholds, those pillars in their life, they're just
way more susceptible to the evils of this world.
The world is strong.
And we're seeing so many, especially at that college age, become radicalized, or, just be fed all of this indoctrination, especially on college campuses.
Right. And that's where it is. I was watching somebody on social media this morning and was saying, they grew up in a conservative household, and they've been,
they were Mormon,
and they like had been living as, a Democrat now, and not going to church and all these things. But that started in college.
Right.
In that little ecosystem. I'll tell you, I started questioning colleges when they started creating safe spaces.
Yeah.
Like, no, your safe spaces in your dorm, go scream into your pillow. You got 3 minutes, and you got to come on with it. You got to get over it. You got to step back into the real world.
Right.
But no.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's like the so many people are throwing kids into therapy at such a young age. And we're teaching them that, okay, well, now everything revolves around how you feel. You're going to feel things.
Yes.
You're going to be sad. You're going to be angry. You're going to be mad.
That's not what we make decisions on.
No, you have to be a person who can put your big girl panties on
yes.
and keep going. You've got to have some perseverance. We need to be teaching perseverance.
Yes. Exactly.
And not, let's crawl into a hole and cry about our feelings.
No, you have to be able to, and that's one thing. If you don't know your values, if you don't know your why you believe this, why you're doing this,
right.
why you're living this way, if you do not know that at your core, then you can't combat anything that the world's going to throw at you.
Right. And you know why, Morgan? I think that the whole reason is, and all of this comes back to faith and a relationship with Christ, because if you are feeling these things like sadness and depression and anxiety, and you have these suicidal thoughts, well, you have no hope. You're
That's
hopeless.
Right. You're hopeless.
And there's no hope outside of Christ. That's what gives us hope to get through the challenging times and to deal with those feelings that we can't understand or deal with ourselves when it feels like it's too much. That's when we lay it down at his feet.
That's right.
And so that's why these children that and college age kids that don't have that relationship and that hope for a future go down these roads,
because they don't know what they're living for.
Right. Exactly.
They don't know what they're living for or what their mission in life is.
And I'm with Charlie on the fact that I really unless you have a very specific profession like lawyer or doctor or something that you absolutely have to be in college for, I kind of discourage it at this point.
I advocate for bringing skills back.
Absolutely.
Like
trade schools.
I went to VOTEC here, in Madison County schools when I was in high school. And that was like a thing that a lot of people didn't do, but I always knew I wanted to be in the medical field, and they had allied health. And and not to mention it was an opportunity to get out of the school.
Right. Yeah.
You got to actually drive there and like
do something different.
Go eat lunch, on your way back to school and stuff like that. But I mean, they have automotive shop and wood shop and marketing and things like that, because you don't need a degree.
No.
You don't. A lot of things.
You absolutely don't. We need to be encouraging.
You need brain cells.
Right. But we need to be encouraging like these entrepreneurial spirits and the minds to be able to think of ways outside of the box.
That's right.
To make things happen. And I think a lot of the most successful people in the world may not have a college degree. They didn't need it for what they have done to be successful.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, there are, like you said, there are some roles that you definitely need. You've got to have that diploma. You got to have that degree in order to get into and advance in. But there's a lot that you don't. And if you just have a generic degree, a lot of times that's going to put you in some sort of a box where, okay, well, you can only make this much money and this is what you do. And you can't get out of it if you were never taught any kind of entrepreneurial skills.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. We only have a few minutes left, but I wanted to ask you how you feel, or what is your response, your opinion on these college professors and not even that, other professions as well. These people being fired who are posting to social media about it, you're cheering on Charlie's death.
So I get there's an argument about, here we are saying freedom of speech. Charlie was killed and, he was just speaking, whatever, freely. But I think that there is a moral and ethical code in your workplace where if you would not, you can't cuss somebody out and not get fired.
There's consequences.
You can't do something that's unethical, demoralizing, and still hold your position. So you can say, if you have a intelligent response, I don't think you should get fired for speaking that. But this was an inhuman response. This was, a hateful response to somebody dying. So, like I know a nurse spoke out about a doctor. You're there to first do no harm.
Right.
You're there to save people's lives. People are supposed to put their lives in your hands. And here you are going to cheer over somebody that you didn't even know that lost theirs. Like, badge taken. You're out.
Right.
You're gone.
And, I mean, and people do have the freedom of speech. They have the freedom to say those things, but that doesn't mean it's without consequences.
Right. That's true.
And I agree. I almost think your profession matters.
It does
as well, because like you said, if you're a doctor, your first thing you do is take an oath to do no harm, and you're cheering over harm to someone. And then if you're a teacher and you have a child in your classroom, especially a child who's younger, who really looked up to Charlie Kirk and who lives in a home where the family listened to Charlie Kirk and respected him, and you're speaking to that class about how you're happy about his death, that child's going to feel uncomfortable and unsafe in that classroom.
Well, and it's a slippery slope. Like, how do you teach children how to be good, how to be kind, how to be compassionate and empathetic, and how to do better in this world, make this world better? How does celebrating a death
go hand in hand with that?
Make this world better? How does that make the world better? You can't do both.
It doesn't.
You can't do both.
You can't do both. We got to take our last commercial break, but y'all stay with us, and we will be right back here on the Lindsay Beckham Show to wrap things up on this Pour It Out Tuesday with Morgan Charlie. Out Tuesday with Morgan Charlie. We are back here. We only have about a minute and a half left. But how's your crock pot working this week?
Oh my gosh. I haven't pulled it out this week. I'm a little traumatized, I think, after the last week.
Yes, Morgan tried to cook and forgot to
People are still
her.
Talking about it, though.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's hilarious to me. It's so something that I would do. Come home and think I'm going to have dinner ready, and I would be patting myself on the back. Like, I did this early, and now I've got everything handled. Walk in there and realize
that just
didn't
shows
plug it in.
You can have your A game on and still fail.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Well, here's to hoping that this next week is not so heavy and not full of so many traumatizing things, and that we don't have to see murders playing out in front of us constantly.
What do we always say? God never wastes a moment. So
that's right.
He doesn't. Those heavy moments will not be wasted.
Beauty from ashes. We're seeing that as all of these young people are excited about wanting to start their own turning point chapters in high schools and colleges.
I think I shared on my stories, MSU and Ole Miss's
turning point chapters. Yeah, their meetings, their upcoming meetings. Yeah. So we're seeing lots of those chapters open. So Charlie's legacy will be played out. Absolutely. And he will continue to change lives even in his death, but he will be remembered as a hero. But
sure.
that's all we have got for today. I will be back here tomorrow. Morgan will be back here with
Yep.
me next Tuesday.
See y'all Tuesday.
We'll see you then. Bye.